Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show. And now, here's Jeff Crilley.
Good Saturday morning, DFW. I love this show because magic happens every weekend. My guests are changing numbers and food recipes and all kinds of connecting going on here. But we're going to start with my first guest. Her name is Jenny Evans, and she's with Methodist Dallas Medical Center, and she is very passionate about educating moms to be. Jenny, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
Okay, what is your official title there?
So at Methodist Dallas Medical Center, I'm the maternal neonatal outreach coordinator and perinatal educator.
Okay, and you have a very personal reason why you're passionate.
Absolutely. So as a graduate nurse, pretty much if you even want to go back before that, I always had this passion for nursing. And when my grandmother got very sick, that kind of fueled that. And so I did not want to give up. I wanted to get into nursing school. I actually had to apply 4 times.
Wow.
And it's so competitive, but if anybody's out there listening, don't give up on your dreams because it's gotten to me to where I am now. And so when I graduated, my goal was to be a neonatal intensive care nurse. And through hard work and determination, because not many jobs of those are available, I got that job right out of school. And whenever I started that position, it just opened my eyes to see the realities of not just being a nurse, but the families we serve, because most families aren't expecting to have a neonatal intensive care baby, right? And so through that process, I just wanted to help. I wanted to learn as much as I could so that I could help them through this journey. And through that process, I just kept learning and educating myself and truly just being there for them, even when I couldn't help them. And so now at Methodist Dallas, I feel extremely grateful for the opportunities that they have given me because they emphasize health and wellness. They're the trusted choice in health and wellness. And like, for instance, they have the opportunity for us to walk around and get away, and they encourage that. So I wanted to start on the unit with the employees. And I was like, okay, so let's start here. Let's increase employee engagement through wellness challenges, because how can we give from an empty well? Mm-hmm. How can we truly help patients if we're not even good for ourselves? So we started there, and over the last year, we've been implementing these wellness challenges, which has truly helped not just our staff, but the way we provide care, which is such a blessing. And then from that, it fueled, okay, let's keep going. So now I just created a company called Unique Footprints, and it's dedicated to maternal health and wellness. And it will launch next month at Baby Blooms, which we're about to get into. But so for anybody out there, please don't ever stop, follow your dreams, and don't give up, because if you want to create meaningful change, it's possible.
Wow, I love that. And for those of you who are watching this on video, on Facebook and on YouTube, you can see the passion in Jenny's eyes. Talk about, working around families that are probably very frightened because of the situation their baby's in. What is that like for you, emotionally? Because it seems like you're always living with a family who's needing reassurance.
Right. So as a nurse, you're taught very clinical aspects of it, which are important for saving a life, right? Which is wonderful. But I think sometimes we can lose sight of the most important thing, which is the family, which is providing compassionate care for not just the mom and the baby, but the whole family, not neglecting the dad or the grandmother. And through the process of losing patients and going through that, I learned how to be there for them on a different level. So I would help from a clinical standpoint, and I would do everything I could to save their baby or resuscitate, or I would just be there for them and sit with them for hours just to help them through that. And so it's not easy, but if you know deep in your heart that's where you're supposed to be, then you fight through it, because it's for the good of the patient and for ultimately yourself, because that's what you're meant to do.
Wow.
So,
Methodist is very lucky to have you. You know that?
Thanks.
I think that's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about your new company.
Yeah.
Tell us more about it.
So I'm super excited. This has been something I've been working on for 2 years, and it's evolved into different things. And now pretty much what it is a company based on maternal wellness, but through the motherhood journey, right? So I believe in what I call 5 trimesters. Preconception is so important to not just the mother's health, but the baby's health. And then the pregnancy, the 3 trimesters, and the postpartum period, because all moms want to restore their body, right? And so the program I created is based on those 5 trimesters. And it's based on yoga through that program, like yoga through that process, as well as mindfulness. So we have fertility yoga, prenatal yoga, mindfulness through pregnancy, breathing for birth. There's so many other, stuff with it, but it's just pretty much that plus baby and me and postpartum. So a way to restore your body. And more is to come because at the end of the year in December, we're launching another part to it, which is online.
Wow.
So the whole program will launch next month, and it will launch at the Baby Blooms event, which is associated with Methodist Dallas.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm really excited because I'm actually coordinating the event.
Cool.
And we're going to have 24 vendors. And what it is it's dedicated to emotional health and self-care of the new family and through the parenting process, right? So it all started from postpartum depression. We had a couple cases of postpartum depression, and we were trying to figure out how can we properly prepare these families for what's to come. And so this event is all about self-care. And let's think about what we can do before we get pregnant or while we're pregnant so we can properly prepare for after. And what if we're a parent and we have a 10-year-old and this is tough because it's just the realities? Then we learn things that we can do to kind of prepare to make it a little bit easier on us later.
That's awesome. So, if people want to know more about Baby Blooms, is it on your website?
Yes, it is. It's on the Facebook page for Unique Footprints as well as a link, and they can go just straight to it and then register.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, you have to be so excited. I mean, so many people are in jobs that they just, it's mindless. It doesn't mean anything to them, and you're doing something that really makes a difference.
Well, it runs deep. Like I came from a family that was so poor. My mother was a single mom. We would eat rice and beans, and she would eat leftovers if there were any. And I dropped out of high school when I was 17 because I had to work. I was a waitress for years, and I realized I was like, I didn't feel like I had skills, but really I had so many skills because waitressing all those years was so humbling, and it prepared me for where I am now as a nurse. And through that process, I just realized, okay, if you want something, you have to go after it. So I worked 7 days a week, and I eventually got into nursing school, and you just don't give up. And it might take years, but you can eventually get there. So
wow. I was just talking about this yesterday about millennials and hard work ethic. And can I ask your age?
I'm 34.
34. You look great. So
Thanks.
you're like the upper end of the millennial. So you're still a millennial.
Yeah.
But where does this work ethic come from?
I mean, really, because you do look at a lot of people, the millennials, and they're not necessarily as hard workers. Like they kind of can be a little bit lazy sometimes, but I think it's just within you. It's ingrained in you. It's opportunity. If you want the opportunity, you have to go seek it. You can't lay on the couch and feel sorry for yourself. We all have been through tough times. Nobody has this perfect story. It's not Facebook perfect in any way, but if you want something, you have to go after it, right?
Wow.
And just not to give up because it's just not worth it.
You sure you weren't a preacher in another life?
No, but I do pray a lot. I do.
Well, give us some tips while we have about 2 minutes left in this segment. Give it for moms or moms to be who are listening right now. What are some things that they should be thinking about as they prepare for their baby?
Yeah. So start with your heart, right? Are you stressed out now? And if you are, it's okay. It's life. But get in a yoga program, do a mindfulness class, do something, but also think about what do you enjoy? Bring those things into your life. If you could write a list of 10 things you enjoy doing by yourself, 10 things you love doing with your spouse. Do something every day for yourself, because if you don't, you'll look back years later and realize I neglected myself for a very long time. And it's just not worth it. So if you can start with your health now, think about everything you consume. What are you putting in your body? Are you moving? Because nowadays we're so stationary, right? And we're in our cars and we're watching TV and we're working in front of a desk. If you can get moving and you can think mindfully in a way to not just what you consume, but in a mental state, and just take some time for yourself, it's very therapeutic and it's definitely worth it.
I think you're amazing.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm so excited to be on the show.
Well, you've been a great guest, and
Thanks.
it's not often that I have a guest who's so transparent, and you have a beautiful heart.
Thank
you so
you.
much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about home repair and a couple of guys that are really shaking up the industry. That's just ahead on the Jeff Crilley Show.
More of the Jeff Crilley Show coming up.